Good morning. Welcome to Java with John. I'm going to try out a new format here. Sunday morning chit chat. Get some jams going here. What I would like to do is invite people to either join the chat or call in to the number and talk. Here's what used to happen. I'd wake up on Sundays hung over as balls. Sometimes crying in my pillow. No kidding, crying in my pillow. Let's see, should we do ambient? Lo-fi? Let's do some lo-fi. Doing some copyright-free lo-fi stream beats from Harris Heller. The show is not sponsored by Harris Heller. I've got only 172 subscribers. Turn that down a little bit and just chill. The chat's open. If you want to join, the phone number for the call-in is 816-287-0437. I don't know if I just committed a complete Google Voice sabotage, but I posted that number into a short. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Sunday mornings, traditionally for Judy and I, were insane. I usually start drinking pretty heavily around Friday afternoons. I mean, I was drinking all week, but maintaining a manageable level of drunkenness, if you will. But come Friday night, I used to lean into it pretty heavily until pretty late in the night. There was times when I would stay up till 2, 3, I shit you not, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. Just sitting in the garage, getting super drunk by myself, watching TV or listening to music. Yeah, there was many nights when I had done that. Oh, Emily wants to try the number. Heck yeah. Emily, our good friend, she's going to be on Sober Mind Saturday next week. We're going to have an awesome discussion, more psychology-based instead of alcohol-based. And Sober Mind, we like to do it all to talk about. Hey, Barry, good morning. All right, Emily, I'm going to give you the number to test it out. I had Judy test it, but let's see. Eight 816-287-0437. Barry, what's going on? Can you tell me yes or no if the stream beats are too loud or just right? This is Sober Mind, Java with John.
Hello.
Hello, caller. You're live on the air.
Hi.
Hi, Emily.
Is it working? Is it coming through correctly?
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Sweet.
Okay. I look forward to talking to you next Saturday.
Me too.
All right, bud. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go eat my breakfast.
All right. Bye. There we go. Thank you, Barry, for confirming. Anyway, so when we would be drinking heavily on Friday into Saturdays, Bismillah, remove all alcohol. Hey, Cactus, good morning. Yeah, so what we would, my hangovers got to the point, I'm 50 years old. I think the context of that is important because 30 years of heavy drinking really started to slam the body and brain. I got to the point where I was having little micro seizures in the shower. That's the only way to explain it. I would try to relax while I was taking a shower and just try to get myself together, but I was going through DTs, withdrawal from alcohol. That's essentially what a hangover is. There's a wild psychology and a huge science behind it, physiology, I mean. And you're essentially ingesting poison. That's what alcohol is. It's a poison. Drunkenness is your brain and body's reaction to it. So I can't count the number of times I'd wake up, look over, make sure that I can remember. Well, I couldn't remember, but trying to account for the events from the night before. Make sure my wife was still alive and breathing. And then I would roll over and try to go back to sleep. But I would always, as I'd start to fall asleep, I'd get like shocked. And it's the only way to describe it. My brain was starting to, I think, have like the synapses were starting to get super broken. I had to talk to my psychiatrist about that. I am on medication after the sobriety. On our show, we talk about all of that. But just basically antidepressants and anti-anxiety. Been dealing with some childhood trauma and military PTSD stuff once I got sober, so it turned into a thing. But like my psychiatrist says, 30 years of hard drinking did some legitimate physical damage. I fried the dopamine receptors. She really understood that when I said, I just don't have, there's times when I don't have simple joy for things anymore. I do now, just months ago. And she said, yeah, it's because, you used to have a trigger that you would create, and that was cracking open the beer. Right. And that makes total sense. Those are some of the happiest times I can remember was driving home from work. Anytime, but especially on Fridays, driving home thinking, oh man, I'm going to grab a beer, crack open a couple cases and go to town. Cactus, yeah, your landlord is in rehab for drinking 25-liter boxes of wine. That's a lot of wine. I was there. My wife and I used to go to the box wine too. Here in the States, it's also measured by liters, but basically the boxes of wine that we get here is the equivalent of about 4 bottles of wine. So, yeah, that's it's sad. I never used to be able to drink just one. That's the the disease. That's my alcoholism. So I've got friends that are able to have a drink or a half a drink and then just not have any more. I do not understand what that means. It's not in my repertoire. Barry, that is a lot. In my world, that wasn't a lot. My wife and I could dust a box of wine and then continue drinking for a long time. We weren't sober during that. We were getting super drunk, but the body just starts to revolt after a while. Judy, my wife, she swears that she was actually physically able to start feeling her liver. Yeah, and I would have lower, I don't know, like midsection pains, if you will. After a while, I think it was probably my kidneys. Luckily, we're in good health now. So we have been sober for 19 months almost. Cactus, you can have one cigarette and then stop, like one in a day. I used to smoke. I smoked for 15 years and I finally quit. I was up to 2 packs a day. Nicotine in itself is a wicked drug. A cigarette a day and that's it. I can't even comprehend. Good for you, man. You have a pack on your desk from 2019. Yeah, so I can't, do you smoke cigarettes for the taste of it? Or is it just a once in a while ritual? Because for me, nicotine is another one of those things. With my genetic makeup, it's nicotine ingestion all day long. So Cactus is, but yeah, some are like that with liquor, but it's so rare. Yeah, a ritual. Yeah. A lot of the ritual-based stuff I started to figure out about 3 months after I was finally sober. My wife and I quit at the same time. We've told that story a bunch on our show. I was finishing building a shed in the backyard, and it was hot outside, and I was sweaty. Finally finished up my last chore from that, and I walked into the kitchen, and I immediately looked at my wife, and this was the first real craving I had, and I said, I could go for a beer right now. I could crack open a bush and just chug it and take one to the shower with me. And she said, hey, just have a seltzer water, because that's what we were drinking. And I had a seltzer water, chugged it, and it felt just the effervescence and sort of the ritual maybe at the time. Cactus, going to your ritual, I cracked it open and drank it, and I was like, oh, that felt good. Felt good. So that's when I started to realize that, I don't know, maybe a majority of that was ritual based. After I started going through a lot of the mental analysis of this, if you will, I think that's what a lot of us alcoholics weren't prepared for. Is there's a lot to get through from a mental perspective after you get sober. Everyone's situation is completely different too, so it's not a one size fits all. Cactus, you got a little soda addiction. Ritual based. Yeah, I bet you're when you just start to think of that, of cracking one open, you get a little bit happy. Yeah. So once I started digging into like that, good for you, Cactus, down to only a soda at dinner. Dang, Cactus, so you got a cigarette and a soda once a day. Those are your crutches. Interesting. Good for you, though, for understanding your limits and figuring out that you need to moderate that stuff. But yeah, once I got into the psychology of how I was feeling after I got sober, one of the biggest things that I had confusion with, I guess, was not understanding what to do when I was happy, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah, I was like, sit down and play video games, crack open a beer. That's all part of it. You're drinking. Our little brains have an amazing way of just starting to make attachments with all of that stuff. I never drank when I was frustrated. Well, I take that back. I never drank because I was frustrated or angry, and I was quite the opposite. I would find that I need to relax and contemplate stuff when I didn't know how to deal with it. Yep, Cactus, you're right. As soon as you tie it to the wrong thing, it digs its hooks in. That's right. So yeah, my drinking ritual was more of a constant life celebration, I think. My wife and I did that a lot. That's what it was. It's like, hey, do you want to go have lunch with friends? Do you want to meet at 11 o'clock, wherever, at whatever shitty bar food restaurant we would always visit? It's because that whole thing was an association of good times. It's what we knew. Go to Johnny's or wherever and get some fried greasy food and just drink for hours from 11 to 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and then drive home drunk. Stop at the liquor store on the way home and pick up a bunch of high octane exotic beers. Then just continue. Body just became bloated and inflamed. So did my soul and spirit. It is all way better now in a sober world. I was on my run this morning and I was thinking about the first couple days that I started my sobriety journey. First couple days was rough. Felt like I was in a nervous hangover, having DTs a little bit. I didn't have medical DTs like I know some people have had. If you drink a ton of hard liquor on a revolving basis, or beer, to the point where you're never ever sober and never giving yourself a chance to hydrate and clear up some of those synapses. Be careful. You may need some medical detox. Quitting alcohol, if you're that dependent on it, can kill you. You can have a seizure and die. Oddly enough, it's not like heroin or crack or anything else. You can be highly addicted to a lot of those things and just go through withdrawals that suck and you'll be okay. But alcohol withdrawal can kill you. Yeah, I know my brother-in-law, Guy, who inspired me on my own journey, he used to drink a ton of whiskey. That was his thing, but he used to have seizures. Bad stuff. Anyway, if you're on the fence or wanting to take that first step, and if you're that bad, then go talk to a doctor. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Just even drink up until, I don't know. I'm no doctor. I'm no psychologist. I'm just saying, if you want to pursue that first step and you're that bad into the alcohol, don't do it alone. Go talk to a doctor and just tell them, hey, I'm an alcoholic. I've been drinking for 2-3 weeks straight. I've been on a bender, whatever. They're gonna need to start to hydrate you, and more than likely they'll give you some kind of diazepam or lorazepam to prevent those seizures while you're being medically observed. I think it doesn't take more than about 48 hours for you to get medically able. That's not saying in 2 days you're going to be down the path of sobriety. That'll just, I think, get you out of the weeds to where you're not going to die or have a seizure from your hardcore alcohol withdrawals. I never got to that stage, but I did have those micro seizures in the shower, like I said. It was not good. That was towards the end. I just couldn't keep it together. And then I would have panic attacks. I had a panic attack so bad. I cracked open. I made myself a big old Bloody Mary, and I was watching war movies while my wife was out of town. And my heart started pounding, and I was getting those shocks. It's the only way I can describe it. And next thing you know, half of my face went numb, and I thought I was having a heart attack. Crawling across the floor, trying to get the phone. Called 911, and I could barely talk. I had tunnel vision. I think I was starting to black out. It was scary. I didn't know if I was having a heart attack, a stroke, or a seizure. Cactus says, did you ever have moments where you passed out almost out of nowhere? Yes. If what you're saying is what I had, when I explained this to my psychiatrist, when we were talking about medication management, the only thing I could describe is like it's a very brief moment of disassociation. It's really hard to describe if that's what you're talking about. Like I'd be doing dishes or something, and just all of a sudden, like just for a minute, just a second, like what happened? Be shaky and sweaty. I think that was part of the DTs, the withdrawals. But when I had the panic attacks, after my first one, I started associating panic attacks with events. So like I would go to the store and I would think, man, what happens? Yeah, exactly. Not narcolepsy, but like you described it. Thanks, Cactus. Thanks. It was a bad description, so I hope that made sense. Thank you. There was one time I went to the grocery store. I was hungover. This was only about 2.5 years ago. And I was walking down the aisle, and it seemed like a long time, but for a brief moment, I had no idea where I was. Oh man, it's making me, I'm getting anxious talking about it. I was in the aisle like, fuck, where am I? I gotta calm down. I remember that. That was a bad one. Yeah, and I knew, so I think I was dehydrated. I drank a Gatorade. I got home and immediately started pounding wine and beer, and then I felt better. I felt fine. That was my first real realization that the 30 years had really caught up to me. I was starting to negotiate with myself and figure out ways to manage my drinking. Like, oh man, this has happened a lot. I'm having panic attacks. Do I need medication? I don't know. Do I need to eat differently? What can I do to make sure that I can continue drinking? Judy's coming in. She was just walking. What's up, babe? Just got a bunch of folks chatting.
Oh, nice.
Barry and Cactus.
Hi, Barry. Cool. Awesome.
That's Judy, the co-host of Sober Mind and Sober Mind Rewind. The other co-host, Patrick, he's on vacation this weekend. So when we get the three of us together, we tell our sobriety stories and talk about our mental health journeys. Patrick is really deep into the psychology of this stuff. It's fascinating. He's getting us all hooked on the hobby of mental health. Yeah, I can't. I was running this morning and I've been feeling so good that I want to make sure that I take a moment to reflect and remember all of the bad times. I know that sounds super counterproductive, but it's not for me. I never want to get really comfortable. I think that's just how I am inherently with a lot of stuff. My brain does an amazing job of wiping out the bad experiences and then remembering the good. So what I mean by that is during the Super Bowl, my wife and I both caught a commercial. They did a really nice job of, it was a white wine commercial. And man, my mouth started watering right now because I immediately went back. I'm like, whoa, that used to be like my pre-drinking event was a glass of cold white wine and a little bowl of salty peanuts or almonds, smoked almonds. And they drink that glass of wine, have another one. Oh, it felt so good. Tasted so good. Where I'm going with that is I looked at Judy and I said, that's probably one of the first cravings I've had in this sobriety journey, aside from that first ritual-based one when I was working outside. But it's important to take a moment and say, like, you want me to grab the doorbell? Oh. Judy's coming in. So it's important to, sorry for the noise.
Sorry.
Play the tape forward. If you're curious about quitting drinking, you will get to a point that alcoholics refer to as the pink cloud. It's different for everybody. It could be a few weeks or a few months into your sobriety. And here's what happens. A lot of alcoholics go, oh man, I've been sober for, I'm just making this up, 3-4 months. I'm feeling good. I have a handle on this. I bet I could just have one, whatever, and that's that. Then it's right back to the journey. That happened to me several times. It's happened to countless alcoholics. Cactus had the same little disassociation things that I used to have. The little moments of
Being about 5 inches away from your eyeballs.
yeah, that's another good way to describe it. Being slightly behind my eyes, looking out for a second. That was the alcohol withdrawal.
Not fun.
Nope. How was your run?
It was good. Mind cleansing.
Ready to have a light lunch and then play some Ghost of Tsushima director's cut.
Yeah. It's the only addictive thing that we can that we do that doesn't give us a hangover.
Yeah. Babe, I was just talking when I first logged on, there was 0 viewers, and I was just opening up the dialogue about my Sunday hangovers.
Oh God, they were the worst.
Usually about the shaky ones, and about how I'd make sure that you were still alive. And those are usually from the nights when I would be out in the garage till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
I'd already gone to bed, yeah.
Yeah. And then I would start to I couldn't go back to sleep, even though I was so tired. I would start to drift off, and then like get shocked awake. My brain revolting, trying to fix all the synapses.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. That and waking up the next morning actually feeling my liver, that was another one.
I told you guys.
That was bad. It's like my liver was outside of my body on the corner smoking a cigarette and flipping me off.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Just to get up and go have another drink.
Yep. I would gently sob in my pillow and tell myself, I've got to quit. I can't do this anymore. I have no idea how many times I did that. I didn't know what in the hell a sober me would even be.
Yeah.
As you and I have discussed that, I didn't realize that you made it part of your identity too.
Yeah, I was afraid that if I did become sober, that everything would change. But I was afraid of what I'd see when I was sober, because I thought that the drunk and high version of me was the cool version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy Sunday morning. This is our just zero agenda chill. I think I'm going to start this new format, babe. Maybe 9:30 on Sundays. I'm just going to come in here and talk. It feels very relaxing.
Yeah, no agenda, no script, no nothing.
I can just have silent time and just sit here.
Do you want me to leave?
No.
Silent time.
It's the beauty of the internet. Got the window open. It's a beautiful day. We live in the Midwest here in Missouri. It's in the mid 40s. Beautiful. If anyone's interested in calling in and talking, the number is 816-287-0437. Oh, Michelle's going to call in.
Sissy. Very cool. Another one that's been sober for over 5 years with marijuana and alcohol, which is pretty cool. Not an easy thing to do.
But yeah, the gently sobbing in the pillow. You're gonna read all of those, aren't you? Before you look over at me.
I was trying. Go ahead.
Barry was the first one that jumped on and said hi. I don't know if Barry's still there, or Barry or Cactus.
When he says I've smoked, does that mean he smoked pot once?
Cigarettes.
Oh,
Cactus can smoke a cigarette a day.
really? That's controlling your craving, I guess.
Yeah. Michelle, the number is posted in the short that I sent out, but I'll post it to you here. Or if you're listening, it is 816-287 0437. I guess I could post it in the chat. I'll do it after Michelle calls in. Oh man, I don't have my background on, babe. Oh, that was fast. Got the command center going.
Yeah, the run was good. I was just thinking about all the times that we had gone for runs prior to getting sober and eating the pizza and the bottle of wine the night before the race, thinking that's what we needed to do to carb up. And then going and running the race.
This is Sober Mind. Caller, you're speaking with John and Judy. How can we help you?
Good morning, John and Judy.
Good morning, Michelle.
How's it going?
Good.
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not hungover.
Hey, that's always a good thing. Considering you've been sober for
Yeah.
how long?
A little over 5 years.
Yeah. So, Michelle, let's do this. If you go off the wagon, please don't be our first contact point.
We will be there for you if you go off the wagon, though.
Okay.
Feel free to call us immediately.
All right. Well, I don't find myself going off the wagon. I like my life the way it is,
Here, here.
so I don't see that happening.
You like the sobriety?
But I very much like my sobriety, yes. Absolutely.
Michelle, we've talked about that on a couple shows, and I know there's a different school of thought from some areas that you don't ever say that. Don't say you're not gonna. But I've
Right.
I've explained this to you, and that is we are. I think 3, 4, 5 of us, you, Guy, Judy, and I, and Patrick, we're at such good stages in our lives to where it was just like the light switch turned on. It's like, all right, forget it. I've missed
Yep.
too much in my life. Now that I'm sober, I can't.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Some people are like, don't ever say you'll never drink again. In my mind's eye, there is no fucking way that could happen. There's no, you know what I mean? If I were to have a drink, my life would be fucking obliterated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would.
And it becomes. Go ahead.
I think I would be so devastated, and I would feel so much self-loathing that it would be crippling. I mean,
Yeah.
I know our
And-
relationship I don't think it would be able to withstand something like that. Not that either one of us are,
Right.
going to be going out and drinking, because we're both very happy with the sober lifestyle that we have. But still, just the thought of drinking, like a couple weeks ago when I looked at that bottle of wine, just the thought of how I would feel after I drank that was enough to say, nope, I'm not touching that shit again.
Right. And, and I think, oh God, hold on. I think that also that, it becomes, if you were to drink again, or in my case, if I were to smoke again, it would be one's too many and a million's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd find yourself right back to exactly where you were before, as far as your intake is concerned, as far as, the way that you thought you had everything under control and that you were okay, but you're not okay. And, I worked really hard for my sobriety.
Yeah.
And and my serenity and my peace and all of that. I don't want to give that up ever again.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where, like, for example, Judy, you wanted to pick up that bottle.
Yeah.
But you think about how serene and peaceful your life is now. And it's not worth it to give that up.
No, not worth it whatsoever. And it's not like it's not like I like I was telling him, like I couldn't just go down to the store and buy some booze, or I couldn't just go down to the dispensary and buy some pot. It was just the feeling that everything would just completely implode if I did.
Right.
I mean, my life would pretty much be over by
Exactly.
that point. Not that I would kill myself, but
that's
yeah,
exactly right.
just not something I wanted to experience.
Yeah, and like I said, I worked too hard for my peace and serenity
Yeah, exactly.
to have something like a joint or a bong hit or a bottle destroy all of that
Mm-hmm.
that I've worked for.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
So yeah, I can say right now I will never smoke again.
Yeah.
It's just, I just won't.
Yeah, I think we could
So,
pretty much say that. I mean,
There's that.
yeah, we could pretty much say that too. I'll never smoke or drink
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no way. And I know that some people might think that's you're looking a gift horse in the mouth or borrowing trouble or whatever, but I think everybody goes on their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I couldn't do that. When I was in my 20s, that was okay. I'm gonna stay sober today, and then maybe tomorrow, and then Michelle, at that age, the pink cloud comes really quick. It's like,
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks down the road, you're like, all right, I've been sober for 2 weeks. I could totally just have a beer.
Mm-hmm.
And next morning in jail later, you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's never
Yeah.
just one.
Yeah, but
Right.
so Michelle, my advice to the folks that might be waking up on a Sunday morning with the hangxiety, the hangover, and your body, your brain is starting to deplete itself of dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine, factoids. That's why you're anxious, because those reservoirs are no longer filled to the proper levels. What I would do sometimes is go look up on the internet hangover cure, which is, and then find whatever voodoo magic is out there. And anyway, the only sort of cure is just basically to get drunk again, so you can stop those enzymes from breaking down.
Yeah.
But
Hair of the dog.
yep.
Yep.
So, what would your advice be on this show, Michelle? This is my Sunday Java with John and Judy, so we're just freestyling it, no agenda. What I would tell someone is, if you wake up and you're in despair today, whether that's from you did some stupid shit last night, you have regrets, you have remorse.
You've woken up in a bed you don't know whose it is.
Yeah. And you're foggy, you're not well, take a shower, take some time to yourself and just set down a foundation. If you want to quit, tell yourself, yesterday was the last fucking time I'm doing that. And I'm gonna move forward with a plan. And guess what? If that plan is in place and you fail, then just do it again.
Let's start over.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
taking that first step is tough. And I don't know. I got no words of wisdom for this. I just never do, because it's so different for everybody.
It might be that
Yep.
some people are looking at it and getting overwhelmed because they think it's this big, when they just need to take that first step, and not worry
Yep.
about the rest of it. Just focus on right now. Focus on just what you're doing right now, not what you did,
Right.
what you think you should do next week or next year or whatever. Just focus on what you want to do right now. And if you have to take it minute by minute, then take it minute by minute. It's not a bad thing. If you have to take it minute by minute, then just do it. And if you fall, you know what? You fall. You get back up again, you start again.
Yes, absolutely. For Guy and I, from our personal experience, what was our savior in getting sober was going to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah. Great
That-
program.
When Guy walked into that first meeting, he was completely, as you said, depleted. He didn't know, he knew he needed help, that he couldn't do it on his own, but he just walked in and just laid it out and said, this is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I need some help.
Yeah.
And for us, that is what worked. There is meetings either on Zoom or in person or, whatever, 24/7 that you can go to. And just, say, I need help. I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
And that would be my suggestion, but that doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's what was the catalyst for Guy and I getting sober, was to start going to meetings. And you don't have to say anything. You just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And they, in those 12-step programs, AA and Al-Anon, will accept you with no judgment and with loving, open arms.
Yeah.
And with those programs, you can take what you like and leave the rest.
Yeah. It's hard
They're
to
not
find.
asking you.
Go ahead.
They're not asking you for anything, but to just sit there and listen.
Yeah, I think for a lot of
And
people,
that's,
it's the fear of going into a place and not feeling like they're in a safe space, and they can just let it all out and just basically verbally vomit all of their shit that's going on inside. And a lot of people, they can't do that. It's a very huge fear that they're going to be judged, and they're going to be, fingers are going to be pointed, and they're going to be looked down upon. And I do know that those programs like Al-Anon and AA are not those type of programs. It's a safe space.
Amen.
Just like we have a
You
safe space
betcha.
here.
Yeah. Michelle, that
Right.
the
Exactly.
the asking for help thing, that's the one that's tough to unpack, because for maybe the last 5 years, I would do that probably every day in my mind. I would entertain, like, play the tape forward of me walking out super fucking hungover as balls, and Judy was out in living room, knee deep into some weed to help her hangover, and I would just play out the
Right.
tape of like, whoa, Judy, I need help, and I would start to cry thinking about that. I've never told you this, huh?
Yeah.
No, but you never actually verbalized the I need help.
I didn't know how to. That's what that is sort of the linchpin of addiction is there is something so overwhelming, so overpowering, something at a point in time in your life that is preventing you from moving forward. I don't know what it is. That's why, Michelle, it sucks when people are like, how do I do it? I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
Right. It's a fear of rejection. It's a fear of, like I said, of judgment, of ridicule, of not understanding where
Yeah.
you're at. People are very afraid of that. People are afraid, especially when you're in the addiction, they're afraid of the vulnerability
I think
of opening up and saying, I need help.
I think also there's
That's a very vulnerable.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think
That's a
also
very vulnerable. That's a very vulnerable position.
yeah.
You have to be really. You have to really want help,
Yeah, I think
and you have to be and
I think
it.
the stigma of alcoholism too. When you think about somebody who is I'm an alcoholic, you're thinking, oh well, that person's a train wreck. That person is just I mean, there's automatically that stigma of, oh, that person has something wrong with them. They can't control their booze, or there's something wrong with that person, and there really isn't. It's just one of those things that a lot of us can't just have one. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Doesn't mean John's a bad person. Doesn't mean you or Guy are a bad person. It just means that our makeup doesn't allow us to just have one.
Right.
So there's also that too, that a lot of people that I have trouble with, being classified as an alcoholic, because there's automatically, once you say that, there's all this other stigmata that gets attached to it that I really don't care for, because it makes me perceived as less of a person.
Amen. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Well, but look at celebrities, for example, who have gotten sober, and for them to walk into a room and say, I'm an alcoholic, and they have everything.
Yeah.
They have everything. They have money, they have status, they have power, they have all of it. And they walk in and say, I'm an alcoholic. In the AA literature or Al-Anon literature, there is a little paragraph about what is an alcoholic. Most people perceive an alcoholic as a bum or panhandler on the street, and that's just not true. That's not true. I mean, Guy, when he was drinking, he was a functional alcoholic. He would get up every day and go to work, just like you did, John. Every day, go to work. Every day, you collect a paycheck. You're doing your thing. You're living your life. But you have this facet of your life that no one knows about, because you have to be vulnerable to open up about it. And it becomes when you seek help, it's because it's become such a problem that it's taking over. It's not just a compartment that you can put away. It's taking over your whole life.
Yeah. There's got to be, see,
so
that's the other thing, Michelle, that we've talked about on the show too, is the rock bottom. You don't necessarily have to have one. Like I've told people, I crawled along my rock bottom for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't.
mhm.
My crippling was when I was really starting to rationalize, like I need to get maybe I'm starting to move towards what Guy had, and I need anti-seizure medication because I'm getting the zaps, man. I'm almost about to pass out in the shower from the DTs. I was just like,
Yep.
I don't know. You get to a point where you're like, okay, dude, fucking make a decision here because this is not going to work. And
Right.
Michelle, to back up, we've talked about that on the shows before too. Is I have been super surprised that our close friends never knew how hard Judy and I drank.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Remember that? I don't know if you watched the show with Kelly, but she's like, I always looked to you and Judy as sort of the role models of how responsible drinkers could be. That you don't always have to get drunk. Until we told her, we're like, yeah, when you would go home, though, we would get fucked up.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 And I don't think with my pot smoking that I was at a bottom either. I think it just became not fun anymore. And it became a habit. And I was doing it 24/7. And it kind of took over all of my thinking. If we were going to go somewhere, how was I going to get my pot there? How was I going to transport it? How was I going to that whole thing? And it took over all of my thinking.
Yeah, we would schedule whether we would go to a restaurant if they served booze. Not whether they had good food or not. It's just, do they serve booze? Okay, we can go. If they don't serve booze, screw it, we're not going to go. There's an Indian place that we go to called Sahara, and they have some of the best food, but they don't serve alcohol. So we never went there until actually we got sober and tried them out and went, why didn't we go here before?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I miss, believe it or not, Michelle, I was contemplating this, putting it into one of my shorts this morning. Not into one of my like wearing underwear shorts, but YouTube shorts.
He's gonna put it in his back pocket.
Was that if you're in a position right now to where you are contemplating getting better, quitting alcohol or drugs, what is, looking back on it, one of the funnest things about my sobriety was being able to break loose of that shit and reinvent myself.
Yeah.
It was not, I'm not going to tell everyone that it was easy, because again, it's different for everybody else. And for me, I had a whole mental health awakening that was a fucking train wreck, but I got through it on the other side. But that initial rediscovery was really, I don't want to get all cheesy and cliche, but it was really enlightening, especially at our age. I realized, oh shit, I really can retire without being bedridden at 60 and having to have, hopefully Judy's there to wipe my ass and tube feed me or some shit. Michelle, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, because once I retire, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to moderate my drinking. I'm gonna be like my dad. I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and be drinking in the garage.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna be.
Yep.
So the exploration and the rediscovery, that all the cool things that come along with it. For Judy and I, it was, oh my God, the sleep was so good.
Oh, it was so good. It still is.
It still is. And then we, being able to take naps and meditate and
Waking up early in the morning, and being bright and alert and enjoying the sun coming up without, what the hell am I doing this awake this early in the morning? I've got a hangover. But yeah, it was just appreciating things more, the vibrancy of everything more. There was no film over top of everything. that there was when we were drinking.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty
And
awesome.
you know what's funny is that stuff has always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
We just never noticed it because we were in this fog.
Yep.
It's like yesterday morning I got up and I was walking my dog, and the birds were really loud, like more than normal. And Guy went golfing and came home and he said, the birds were really loud this morning. And if we had been hungover, we would not have been aware of that. And it makes, for me, it makes me appreciate that so much more.
Mm-hmm.
That just the birds being chirpy.
Yeah.
It's and it was always there. That's the thing that gets me. Is it was always there. We were just so caught up in our addiction that we were not aware that it was there.
Yeah.
And I have so much gratitude now for that. For being able to be aware of those things and appreciate those things. But yeah, and for me, it was not a rediscovery of myself. It was a discovery of myself.
Yeah.
Because I had been in my addiction for so long that I didn't know who I was. I was someone's wife, someone's sister, someone's daughter. I was not Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I was, what I wanted, what made me tick, what I liked to do. I didn't know that. For me, it was go along to get along, worry about and think about and care for everyone else besides myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to self-care.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know who Michelle was. And so for me, lifting that fog of addiction, I discovered myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's been my experience. It's a road to self-discovery. And I still, even after as long as I've been sober, I still find things about myself that, that, wow, I can do that, or wow, I really, really like that, or whatever it may be.
Michelle, one of my cool things that I figured out a couple months ago was Sarah and Emily. We've been trying to plan a dinner, and they're, they got their kids and they're just busy with stuff. And so Emily asked, like, what day works for you? And I caught myself. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Any day, any evening, any time after work, 7 days a week. But that used to not.
Right.
There used to be rules around that, like not. Probably only Saturday around 11 a.m. because the rest of the time and days were occupied by us drinking. It just
or having a hangover.
Yeah. Oh, Sunday night, forget about it. People be like, "Hey, can you help me move something on Sunday afternoon?" Like, are you fucking kidding me? There ain't no way I'm leaving the house. There's no way. Now
Sunday's recouped day. Are you kidding?
Now it's like any time you need help, we're there. See, and it makes you just a better person. It did us.
Yeah,
like, sure.
most
I'm there for you. I'm there for myself, and I'm there for you. No big deal.
That's right.
I can navigate problems and help ourselves. I know how to parent myself and do self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we have more time.
That's another big thing with getting. Yes. But another big thing, John, you just hit it, is you can navigate through things in a much better way now than you could before, because you're not having to schedule, okay, I could do it this time, but I can't do it this time because I'm going to be too drunk. Yes, but navigating through when or your schedule or whatever, it leaves it, like Judy said, much more time, much more open, much more willing to help.
Yeah,
your fellow man.
most definitely. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys go
No,
because I gotta go take a shower.
I got a dad call in 15, so
Oh.
I gotta go.
All
right.
Love you, Michelle.
Love you,
Thanks
Michelle.
for calling in.
Thanks for calling in.
Love you too.
You are our second caller. Emily called in to test it earlier, but this was awesome. I'm gonna do
nice.
this every Sunday at 9:30. I'm just gonna sit here and drink a cup of coffee and leave the chat open for an hour in case someone wants to talk. I don't know. People out there that
Perfect.
need some help. So
Yeah, that sounds
Perfect.
great.
That sounds lovely.
love you, Michelle. Bye.
Love you too. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Michelle, hang up.
I'm hanging up now.
I could see the connection still. That was pretty cool. All right, you're going to take a shower. Then
I'm
we're
going
gonna
to take a shower.
eat and play Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Yeah. All right. That's it. We'll be here. We're here. If anyone needs to talk or listen or anything like that, hey, Cactus and Barry, if you're still on, you better have subscribed, please, because yeah, subscribe. I don't do that often, but
Thanks for chatting.
you've been hanging out. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to hang up. That's that. Love you, babe. Thanks for dropping in. Ciao. All right, y'all. We got a bunch of cool sessions planned for our Sober Mind Rewind on Tuesday night. Our co-host Patrick will be on. We're going to be discussing how to reward ourselves differently. I'm not going to get into the details. It's in the description. And then this coming Saturday, I've already got the thumbnails out there ready to go. My good friend Emily is going to be on. We're going to talk about the psychological struggles of her homosexuality when she was younger and how she navigated all that and how she let people know that she was a lesbian in this red state that we live in and all the weird persecution and bullshit that still happens and comes with that. So she'll be in studio here having the chat with us, so it's gonna be awesome. All right. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.